Shir is dedicated to Nishmas Rachel Leah Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi. In the last year we discussed the Malacha of Malabain, and we pointed out that there are three distinct stages in Libun, and each of them represents a potential Isser Doraisa. Stage number one is Shriya. Shriya Sozeo Kibuso. You're not allowed to soak a garment on Shabbos, that representing the soaking itself, even without any soak, without any agitation, that's going to be usher. That's based on a Gemara in Maseches Zvachim, Daf Tzadi Daled. Second stage two, is what we call Shifshuf. Shifshuf, agitation, rubbing one side of the garment against the other, that is also going to be us. That's also part of the process of Libun. And there we pointed out already there's a fundamental difference, says the Gemara in Zvachim, between a woven garment, what we call a classic baguette, versus a baguette shell or. When it comes to a leather baguette, the Gemara says Shriya is permissible. There's no Isser in Shriya. The water just kind of slides off, does not get absorbed and release the dirt. When it comes to Shifshuf, however, even Shifshuf will be Asr when it comes to a leather garment, and that's what we point out in the halacha. The poskim say that when it comes to certain kinds of tablecloths that might be synthetic, like leather, have a din of leather, it's not a weave, therefore it would be mutter to put some water on and lightly wipe off, but to vigorously wipe off in a manner that's akin to shivshuv, that will be aser. And the third stage of the malacha is schita, is wringing out a garment. So what we want to talk a little bit about is the topic of shifshuf, and the question that we want to pose over here is, I understand very well that in the normal process of libun, you first soak the garment, then you agitate it, and then you do schita. But is it aser, nisr doraisa, even if you do, let's say, one step without the other? How do you do one step without the other? For example, let's say I engage in shifshuf without the addition of mayim, without water. If I skip shriya and I do some kind of dry clean, can there be an isser of dry cleaning on Shabbos? Or by definition, in order to violate the isser of kibus requires some liquid agent. Or do you assume even without a liquid agent there's going to be a prohibition of malabain, of kibus on Shabbos? So this seems to be a very clear discussion in the Rishonim, in Maseches Shabbos and Daf Kuf Mem Vav Amid Beis. Last words on the page, and then going on to Kuf Mem Zayin Amid Aleph. The Gemara tells us from Rav Huna, Hamenaer Taliso B'Shabbos. If a person is menaer his talis, what does it mean menaer talis? He takes a garment, takes his talis, and shakes it out. Chayav chatos, that's going to be an Isser D'Oraisa, a Chiyav Karban if he does so b'shogeg. The Gemara doesn't tell us what malacha is violated, but certainly it'll be an Isser D'Oraisa. That's what the Gemara posits. Then the Gemara has a few critical qualifications. Says the Gemara, V'lo amran ela b'chadati, aval ba'atiki les lamba. This Isser D'Oraisa is only with a new garment. However, if it's an older garment, there is no prohibition. V'lo amron ela be'uchmi, and this prohibition is only when it comes to a garment that is a black garment. However, if you're talking about bechivri v'sumki, if it's a white garment or it's a red garment, once again, less lamba. And finally, v'hu dekapid alayu, and it's only prohibited if you have a kapeda, if you're makpid, if you're not comfortable with this stain. But if the stain doesn't really bother you, sure, you'd rather not have the stain, but if it doesn't really bother you, you'll wear the garment just as well with or without the stain, so then also it seems to be permissible. That's the Gemara. Again, we have three qualifications. The Isser is menar talis. If you shake the talis out, you're chayav chatas Isser D'Oraisa, but with three qualifications. You need to have kapeda, and it has to be new, and it has to be black. If you're lacking any of those qualifications, then it sounds like this will not be an Isser D'Oraisa. So two issues. First of all, what malach are we talking about? So Rashi dispenses with that issue right away. It says chayav chatas dezehu libuna. This is the malach of libun. When you shake out a talis, zehu libuna. This is the bleaching or the whitening of the talis, and therefore an Isser Doraisa. Fine. What exactly are you cleansing it of? What are you removing when you go ahead and shake out the talis? So Rashi once again writes, Hamena'er taliso min ha'afar. You're being menar the talis from the afar, from the dust that is in the talis. Dust in the talis. Comes along Tosfos, the Ramasa Hamena'er talisa, Perish Rabbeinu Chananel, min hatal she'alav. You're being menar the talis from the tal, from the dew that is on the talis. Dahainu kibus libun chayv chatos. That's kibus when there is tal. V'chein mashma. And he continues, brings a raya to this effect, and he writes.